ChoiceHomeWarranty.com for more details.
Ladies and gentlemen, live from the West Coast, it's time for Ring Talk Live Worldwide. Your inside look into combat sports. Ring Talk Live Worldwide, brought to you by the WBC, the World Boxing Council.
But it's something else to watch two men at the highest level battle, and one may be favored over the other, but you never know what's going to happen. And that's why boxing is the way it is.
And now, the host of the longest-running fight show in radio and internet history.
He comes on damn near torpedoes, full steam ahead.
Pedro Fernandez.
Damas y caballeros, bienvenidos, ladies and gentlemen. Coming at you from the multi-million-dollar Sports Byline Studios. Check it. This is Ring Talk Live Worldwide. Often imitated but hardly duplicated 37. No, make that 39 plus years now of knocking out all bums. Who am I? My name is Pedro Fernandez. I am your ever so modest host. When I say modest, big caps. I'm a 4-time Golden Glove champion and an award-winning writer. So I bring a unique combination to the dance. If you like to, what do they call it now? Still call it tweeting? Or you got to tweet people or X people? What's up? You want to tweet me? You can. The handle is Not Average Pedro. That's right, Not Average Pedro. That's my thing at Twitter. Not Average Pedro. Of course, they call it X. They call it. I just like that guy. I saw him a few months ago at a Chris Rock show. Of course, Chris Rock and Dave Chappelle came to town, and they brought Elon Musk with them. Elon Musk got booed, man. I'm telling you, if we had a brick, I think that's why they searched us going into the place, because they knew we would throw rocks at that guy if he showed up on the screen. But the bottom line is, Elon Musk's not my favorite guy. Today, we're talking boxing, a little mixed martial arts, of course. Thursday night, we had boxing in the Little Garden. Mr. Ishmael Villarreal coming out short on a unanimous nod, of course, against Callum Smith. Villarreal is our guy, so we'll talk about that in depth with Socrates Palmer. Of course, Socrates Palmer, boxing PhD, will be here after the break. We'll talk about that in depth, of course, next week. Shakur Stevenson doing his thing, man. Maybe the pound-for-pound best fighter in boxing right now. Or is he just an exaggeration early on? What's up with Shakur? We'll talk about Shakur and more after the break. This is Ring Talk Live Worldwide. Open phone lines around the planet. You want to call me here in the studio, you can. 1-800-878-7529. That's 1-800-878-7529. Guess who's controlling things today? The great Daniel Ogden. Daniel, take it away. Okay, get this. I've always accused Cuban fighters and Russian fighters of lying about their age. I think that Ismael Jose Barrosa is supposedly born January 27, 1983. I think he's lying. He's from Venezuela. I'm looking at pictures of him, of course. I think he's closer to 50 than he is 40. But the bottom line is, Raleigh Romero and him were rocking and rolling a couple of months ago, of course, and referee Tony Weeks jumped in and stopped the fight for no apparent reason whatsoever, not in my mind. Anyway, bottom line is, I thought it was one of the worst stoppages in boxing history, not in recent boxing history, in boxing history, period. But the bottom line is, they're going to probably bring him back against somebody that's super duper tough. I think he's got a fight with Rob. Maybe it's with Canseco. Is it Canseco's on? No, they haven't got a fight for him yet. But the bottom line is, the next fight they put this 55-year-old man in will be a death match, no doubt about that, because boxing that's the way they do you. Straight up, let's take it from the West Coast to the East Coast and bring in boxing's PhD, Socrates Palmer. How are you today, sir?
Doing great, Pedro.
I want to mention the fact that before we get going, I want to mention the fact that one of the original astronauts, Frank Borman, passed away this past week at the age of 95. He was part of the Apollo program. He was part of the Gemini program. He was around with the Mercury pilots. But the bottom line is, 95 years old. He was one of the first guys to go to the moon, and I think he circled the moon in Apollo 8. Never went to the moon exactly and stepped on the moon. But the bottom line is, Frank Borman passed away at the age of 95. All these guys, these astronauts, they were heroes to me when I was a kid. I mean, Neil Armstrong, man, we thought he could walk on water.
That would, I mean, it's part of that American propaganda,
right? I mean, it was like, we are doing things that no other place was doing. Yeah, I mean, they were larger than life people. That was back in the 60s. Like, can you imagine if they had the type of technology and social media of today?
Well, you know, when they had a lift off, believe it or not, the streets sort of became barren. I mean, people went in to watch it. You know what I'm saying? Whether they were in the morning, the afternoon, whenever they had liftoffs, when they would walk in space, like nobody would be on the streets. I mean, this was like, everybody takes it for granted now, but when Edward White took that first walk in space thing back in 1962, I mean, the world was astonished.
It was a much smaller world. This is something that the human mind can fathom. To be able to be to the moon. I mean, the moon that was made out of cheese and without blinking. It's a different world.
Well, there's still some debate as to whether they did their thing on the moon. I don't know about that. I'm not going to go into that in depth. But the bottom line is, huh?
That's a whole nother rabbit hole.
Exactly. That's a big, deep rabbit hole. Well, but I will say this though: Neil Armstrong, the first man to walk on the moon, he never did an interview ever after walking on the moon in the United States. He did one interview, I believe, in 1996 in Australia, and he was very vague. And what he and Frank, I can't remember what his partner's name was, but anyway, whoever was on the moon with him the first time, they were of the opinion that there were people watching them, and not us. Yeah, so that's why Neil Armstrong never said nothing all these years. I mean, come on, he's the most celebrated face on the planet, and the guy goes mum. He goes mute for the rest of his life.
Two things: it adds to the mystique, and it also adds to that rabbit hole that I was alluding to earlier. It's a fascinating read, and there's a lot of programs on. People think that it was staged. It's really crazy.
Okay, let's go back to Ismael Barrosa just for a second. 24-4, 22 KOs. Do you think he's like closer to 50 than 40?
I always said that this guy, the Cuban Ortiz, the heavyweight, they must go to the same place first because that guy. I mean, he looks old. I mean, he's good for my ego. I mean, I'm 45. So.
Joel Casamayor, 1992 Olympic gold medalist from Cuba, right? I looked at this guy. I thought he was like 40 when he won the medal. Okay, I mean, anyway, Cubans, Russians, and I guess Venezuelans tend to, if you can get away with it, I guess you can get away with it. But the bottom line is, I don't know. Let's talk about your guy this past Thursday night. Of course, he came up short in the Garden. Talk about Ishmael Villarreal. It was unanimous nod. He dropped his guy in the last round. There was some controversy. The other guy got dropped. The glove touched the ground. The referee didn't call it. I mean, you realize that had you been Callum Smith, you would have gotten all those benefits and you're not Callum Smith, is Ishmael Villarreal, and he's not going to get those benefits. You know where I'm coming from on that?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, Caleb Walsh was the marquee attraction, right? He's a guy that got off work and Dana White has invested in time. You should have seen the ring entrance. I mean, you would have thought that it was the second coming of Christ. You know, he had this song coming in, and it was quite the spectacle. Um, the kid is good, but he's not great. You know, I thought that Steve Willis could have done a little bit better job. You know, calling a knockdown that maybe turns a fight into a draw. Um, I was looking at it.
But you and I have to realize that, and I'll explain. The boxing establishment didn't want him to do that. I mean, that's just the way it is. I mean, they wanted that to go the way just the way it went. And when he got dropped in the 10th round, right there, I could say, "Oh my!" When he went down in the 10th round, I could see all those guys saying to myself, "Oh f, there goes our investment, this and that." Okay, but he got up and he was tired. He finished and he made the 10-round distance. But at the end of the day, when you go in against the A fighter or the A side of the record, whether he's a better fighter or not, it's a tough road to hoe. This is boxing. This is the word. Listen, outside of Dana White, there's no sport in which you can be exploited more than boxing. Okay, and that means you can be exploited not only by your own team but by other people. They use you as a manager. They use you as a stepping stone. This and that. So I never want to see my guys end up as stepping stones, because stepping stones end up talking rumbly. They don't end up talking like me after 15 or 20 years. They end up talking like, and you don't want that. Especially for like $5 grand. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hey, we'll give you 10 grand for this. We'll give you 10 grand coming to being a opponent. No, we'll give you 15. We'll give you 20 grand. And what they do is I've seen guys, Alex Stewart was at heavyweight that Mike Jones and Dennis Rapport had a piece of. Dennis said he didn't, but the bottom line is he did, I think. He made a lot of money. I mean, when he was fighting, he was making like $400 or $500 grand to fight. You know what I'm saying? So you're making that kind of money, even if you're losing, it's cool. You know where I'm coming from? Yeah, it's cool because you can bank some money after a few fights, but not everybody's in that position. Not everybody, especially black, can be on the B side of the record. It's just it's a tough road to hoe. Boxing, listen, boxing doesn't forgive anybody. It doesn't give anybody any passes unless you are one of the gifted ones. The boxing establishment is anointing you as one of the gifted ones. Guess what? You've got to be knocked down twice to score one knockdown and all that kind of good stuff. Now, changing subjects. Let's talk about Shakur Stevenson. Where's he fighting next week? Vegas?
He's fighting in the T-Mobile Arena against Anthony Dos Santos of the Dominican Republic.
And he's going to sell about 17 tickets for that, right?
I'm actually surprised
that the fight's in Vegas. I guess they want to stick their toe in the water to see what kind of star Shakur Stevenson is. He's a star in the boxing community, but as far as like crossover box office, I don't see it.
Here's where it's going on. Here's what they're going to do though. They have this race in town, this Las Vegas International race, where they've torn up the whole town. They've got IndyCar race. I mean, it's an IndyCar type thing, and they're going to do it for like 4 or 5 days or something like that. It's going to be a big race. Although tickets to the race have plummeted by 60% in the last 3 weeks. Hotel rates in Las Vegas have plummeted by 40% in the last 3 or 4 weeks. So something happened. Evidently, the guy won the Grand Series already as far as these racing were concerned, and this final event won't have anything to do with the final lineup as far as the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, that kind of list of drivers, that kind of good stuff. So they think some of the air has been let out of this promotion. But the bottom line is they tore Las Vegas up, Sock. You wouldn't believe it. I mean, it's just like I mean, you can't go places. It took me 25 minutes to get into my hotel one night. Okay, 25 minutes, and I was like 25 feet from the door. That's how things would. No, 25 feet from the door. I'm driving into a gate. I was staying in a gated community, but I was only 25. I couldn't get to 25 feet in a half hour. Couldn't do it, and there's no sense in getting frustrated, is it? Because everybody's stuck. So they tore the whole town apart for this Grand Prix race, and of course, I think Shakur Stevens is going to be part of this Grand Prix weekend or Grand Prix. So that's what they're thinking. They can get some people from the racetrack or some people from the race world to go over there and watch the fight. That's the only thing. But to put it in a big arena, not a smooth move.
Yeah, I am very interested to see how many people actually have paid, to look at that. And that's not knocking Shakur. Just like I think you said earlier, Shakur is probably in the top 10.
It
It's
just,
just,
he's a brilliant fighter, but I
You
don't
know what
know
Don,
how
you know
much
what
I
Don
can
King,
say.
you know what Don King would be doing right now if he was promoting Shakur Stevenson in Las Vegas, right in that arena. Watch this. Watch this. Yeah, hello, Marine Corps. Yeah, Don King's office here. Yeah, we've got 500 tickets for any of your. Can you bring us 500 guys tonight? We need 500 guys, preferably in uniform. I tell you what. I can send $1,000 to the. I can send $1,000 down to the fund, whatever fund you guys have down there. I'll send you a couple $1,000, and I'll give you tickets for 500 guys. How's that? That's the way Don would do it. He would pay those people to come. They would come, and some of them would come in uniform, but they would pack the arena. I mean, that's what you call papering the house, right?
it makes sense. And just coming off of Veterans Day, it's a perfect fit.
Perfect
You
fit.
need to be working for Top Rank.
No, listen. Top Rank just retired Lee Samuels. Want to retire Lee Samuels.
Yes.
He was a pretty good guy. Me and him had we crossed paths many times in our lives. Sometimes we were adversaries, sometimes we weren't. But the bottom line is, you know what? Everything I wrote about Top Rank and Operation Matchbox and them fixing fights and all that kind of stuff and fixing physicals, all that kind of good stuff, they never came back on me. And just like the FBI said, the reason why they can't come back on you, because it's all true.
Boom. And hey,
We'll leave it at
it
that.
is what it is. Mm-hmm.
You are tuned to Ring Talk Live. Well, that's just the way it was. Jay, listen, nobody took Bob Arum to court. Nobody took Bob Arum to court and beat him up, but me. Nobody. I mean, all these other guys. Well, golly gee, where's golly? No. He tried to slap me around the Las Vegas Sun in the newspaper. I slapped him back hard. I ended up walking away with 10 grand cash. You are tuned to Ring Talk Live worldwide. Now that's nickels to Bob Arum, but guess what? I'm the only writer who's ever sued Bob Arum and got $10,000. Think about that. You're tuned to Ring Talk.
It's kind of rough, but that's all right with me. 'Cause I am the Tasmanian Devil, 5-time world champion. Tune in to the WBC. Tune in.
Get chores, float up to the stars. Planets is a spot about 6 blocks east of Mars. Air soul kicks and crush velvet hats. Hanging off the Ave with the beautifulest snaps. Riding the crest with the blessed give a yes. Planets kinda funky as if you hadn't guessed. Placebos getting blocked, funky joints get rocked. Java's not found, we flop from the flesh. Weather Jeep black, peek it as you bend it and float to them raps. Butterflies, planets with a jam 8 tracks. From the naughty tops with the twist and plaits. Look beneath my hat, find the brains that hit ya, Metro quite equipped. Knows of all the funk that was laid in 7 zips. Funk is fat, homie, don't you know me? Cool is back, give some skin, lay it on me. Groovy you could call it, hip yeah you could call we. Vicky sticky finger stuck up.
Somebody told me that Don King is promoting boxing again. That's not true. That's not true. Debbie King is promoting boxing. Of course, that's Don King's daughter. Of course, they roll out Don King. I guess they prop him up. Sort of like, they tell him it's like in a Living Color spoof. Guess what, Don? You're on TV. Oh, I'm on TV. Oh, well, Donald Trump's a great guy, and I got to fight. Adrian Broner's the greatest fighter in the world. Outside of that, I can't say much because I'm an old man now, 95 years old, and basically I'm done. Stick a fork in me. Bottom line is Don King has had his run. I think that Bob Arum's in far better shape as far as business and physical and their ability to communicate is concerned. But the bottom line is he's still around. He's doing 2 more shows. When does he just realize he should just go away? Because you can't put on great shows like Tyson and this and all these great fights, Chavez and Taylor kind of good stuff, and go all the way back to Ali and Holmes, and then come out with the crap he's putting on, Trevor Bryan and people like that. Who wants to see that stuff?
And Trevor Bryan came out really messed up from that fight. He was hospitalized after but the other guy in the hospital. So Don King,
You described it seems like the movie Weekend at Bernie's, huh? They're just propping him up and using his likeness. But
and the daughter such a schlep, and I'll just put it to you like that. She's such a schlep. Let me tell you, the first broadcast we did about 2 or 3 years ago, I said to her, I shot her a thing. I said, listen, Ira Glass promoted all of a lot of DK shows back in the day. He's available. He's a producer. He's available in Florida. But no, she didn't want to go there. She wanted to go there with some dude that's had some connection with some website. Okay, so she went and did that. So she brought in an entire different production crew. The graphics aren't any good. The talent isn't any good. The actual coverage of the fight. Now listen, boxing is one of the easiest sports in the world to cover because all you got to do is take a camera and shine it at a square box. You know what I mean? It's not like you got to do all kinds of different things. And she can't get that right. So she's upset because I told her that she's tarnishing the name of Don King. I think she's dragging Don King's name down into a sewer. Not that it doesn't belong there, maybe, in the minds of some people. But the bottom line is the production is just absolutely, I don't even know what the word. What did they used to have, those public access channels?
yes, public access. That's where Max Kellerman started. Yeah.
That's what it looks like. Don King on public access.
Ouch.
Now, of course, the IBF welterweight champion, of course, having been anointed to that position, they stripped Terrence Crawford of that. Crawford, of course, coming off the beating of the dead man, Earl Spence. They're talking about doing that again. I can't believe that. I mean, when I talk about Earl Spence and his performance and his ability to perform or not perform, and I look at Muhammad Ali in 1980 and his ability to perform and not be able to perform, can you see the correlation there, or am I just pushing it?
Well, the way he looked his last time out, I mean, he looked like he was just a stiff. Is over. I didn't think. Listen, I was never really sold on Errol Spence. He's a good fighter, but I always thought he was matched very good. Now, seeing the residual effects from the car accident, the one-sided beating that he took from Terrence Crawford, I don't think he ever beats another elite level fighter again. And honestly, I think it's a shame that he's going to fight again. I think he's got a good family. They should keep him home. He made a lot of money. There's no need to get another beating from Terrence Crawford. That, like you said, it's not going to leave for long-term effects. Good, healthy long-term effects.
How much money can a sucker spend? Remember that Rapper's Delight song? I mean, come on. I mean, that's what it boils down to. How much money can you spend? You live in Texas. You made about $10 to $12 million on this last fight. Even if you walked away with $4 million after taxes and everything was paid for, that's $4 million bucks. You know what I'm saying? If you can't buy a house and live for the rest of your life on $4 million bucks, you must, you're doing more than smoking weed.
Yeah, and it's not like he was fighting for peanuts before that. I mean, it is what it is, people's egos. I mean, he probably doesn't wanna go out the way he did, and, I guess at the end of the day, he's a grown man, he's gonna make his own decisions, but
I had my last fight. I looked down at my mother when she was holding the robe. Okay, I said to her, "Mom, I'm out of here." And she goes, "They haven't even announced the decision yet. Shut up," or something like that. Okay, she was into it. So my whole team is standing at ringside. It was a 3-2 split the other way, but I knew it right then and there that it wasn't in me anymore. You know what I'm saying? I knew it. So win or lose, this was going to be it. You know where I'm coming from? And I told them beforehand because you always want to stick. I try to stick to my word for the most part, especially when it comes to boxing, because you're making a commitment not only to yourself but to your team. You don't want to embarrass your team. You know what I'm saying? You really don't. And I realized right then and there that I couldn't deliver the way I wanted to deliver, so it was time to go.
well, you're one of the few, people that look in the mirror and they know. Some people, however, there's a delusion, and the ego. Once again, I mean, this is machismo. There's no sport like this in terms of, a man's machismo and the ego.
You got to do is look at a guy that can't talk anymore, or a guy that that walks stiff, or he walks on his heels, or this and that. I mean, I can name guys in the last 10 or 15
Yeah,
years. I'm not going to name anybody. What I'm trying to say is, once you see that, you say to yourself, none of it was worth it.
yeah. No, but you're always, there's some guys that are gonna always say that's never gonna be me. I mean, denial is a river in Egypt, right? And
All right,
a lot
all
of
right,
guys live that.
all right, let's get back to the subject at hand before we get out of here. Jaron Ennis, is he that good?
I think he's very good, but I think once again he's been matched tremendously, and he's probably gonna be the guy that is hurt the most by Showtime going belly up. There's been rumors that he's been in talks with the ESPN and Top Rank, which would be great for his career because he needs that platform to showcase himself. Um, no one wants to win the title, in the boardroom, which is what the IBF did, but it's just a circumstance. Mhm.
You say that, right? But a lot of guys will take the title. They'll take it.
Of course, of course, of course.
When I was in the Golden Gloves, I'll never forget. They were giving out these trophies at the end of one tournament, this and that. And they gave this guy, I think I got the MVP, and they gave this guy they gave him a trophy. He never fought anybody. There wasn't
Walter
nobody in his
Risk.
weight class. You know what I'm saying? You're not the
Mhm.
Golden Glove champ because Daniel punked out, didn't show up.
Yeah, I mean that happens, especially.
Here in New York, I remember there's a guy named Glenn Ganny who was like a 7-time Golden Glove champ. He probably fought like twice, and it's what it is. He,
I
he
had
was, he was
Well, I had 5 Golden Glove fights. Lost the first one, 3-2 split, 1-4 after that. But the bottom line is, you know, it's a special time in everybody's life, especially when you're fighting. No doubt about that. On the flip side, now, how's Mr. Villarreal feeling mentally and physically?
he's fine. He's a tough kid mentally. Listen, there's levels to boxing. Mm, He had to be at St. Barnabas Hospital 9 a.m. the next day. I dropped him home at 2 in the morning that night. That's a working man.
If you have a man right then and there, a man that's he's got to raise a family to raise. He's got to make a living, this and that. I mean, he gets done fighting at Madison Square Garden the night before. The next morning, he's at the hospital working at 9 a.m.
Yeah, I mean, look, he didn't take a beating. He got a little nick over here from a headbutt, but they stitched him up 3 stitches, and he was clocking in the next day.
Okay, good enough.
Yeah.
It's getting close to Christmas time, so I've got the perfect Christmas present from your agent, Sophie.
Okay.
I'm going to buy her an electric toothbrush. I think that
No,
would be
electric
I think that would be a perfect gift for a young lady. Just keep that smile bright. What do you think?
Sounds good. She's got basic.
that will help.
And well, guess what? We'll work with that as well. Anyway, I'm sitting the electric toothbrush. This is right in front of me. Anyway, have a great day. Kiss the kids and hug the wife. We make it personal sometimes here on Ring Talk Live Worldwide.
She was the one who could calm my heart. I know someday that we could happen in a special way. I wish I might make you my all-star shining bright.
I'm Frank Ripley, inventor of Frackwell, the boxer's water bottle. You're watching WBC Live Channel, powered by Vive.
Most of the music on this show is brought to you by the mighty Tower of Power. Check them out, towerofpower.com. That is their website. Of course, they are rocking and rolling now for better than 50 years. 1968, of course, they formed the Tower of Power back in San Mateo, California. Of course, 55 years later, they are still rocking and rolling. Still not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, though. Straight up, you are tuned to Ring Talk Live Worldwide, your inside look at the world of boxing and MMA. Want to wish a happy birthday to undefeated Jennifer Childs. She was an undefeated boxer. I think she weighed about 135, 140 pounds, something like that. Anyway, bottom line is she was one of the greatest women I've ever met in my life. She's a great mother. She had a good birthday this week, of course, and I want you to enjoy her birthday. She's a super mom. She always looks good for 39 years old. And Jen Childs was a class act. I mean, listen, boxing tried to use her, and she refused to be used. So the bottom line, she walked away undefeated and still pretty. I'm happy for her and the family, no doubt about that. This is Ring Talk Live Worldwide, your inside look into the world of boxing and MMA. Those of you know me know I have a background with Muhammad Ali. Was his bodyguard for a tour through China. Of course, went to Buenos Aires, Argentina with him. Went to Europe. Went a few places around the world with him. But the bottom line is he was always a class act to be around. And you know what? He didn't have to touch people in order to be touched. In other words, I watched people faint. People saw him. We pulled into a Chinese village one time in a train. We stopped his train in the middle of a Chinese village. They were going to bathroom in pots and in outhouses and kind of stuff. They had no running water, right? They knew who he was. They came out to the train. One lady looked like she had a heart attack. A couple of people fainted. I kid you not. So he could touch people. I touched him. But back in 1972, I believe they're going to try to do this rematch between Ali and Frazier. Of course, Ali having lost the first fight, March 8th, 1971, a 15-round unanimous decision in New York City. Of course, getting dropped in the 10th and the 15th round after being hurt. I mean, I've never seen Ali as hurt as he was in the 11th round, but he got his head handed to him in the 11th round, got knocked down in the 15th round, probably came back to win that 15th round. But the bottom line is, at the end of the night, the judges thought that Joe Frazier was the winner. So we're setting up the second fight now. Of course, the second fight, it'll be in the Garden. Joe Frazier, Muhammad Ali, and my friend Dick Cavett.
Well, what should we talk about? Certainly nice to see you both. And I think we might as well reveal right now that beneath the mask of unfriendliness that we saw in the film, down deep, you really hate each other. Is this or is this not true?
I don't hate Joe Frazier. Joe Frazier don't hate me. Joe Frazier's got to take care of himself, and I got to take care of mine when the bell rang. And I will admit,
everybody's like on their own.
We are
really
stone enemies when the bell rang. And after the fight, I have nothing wrong against him.
Well,
one day I like for my little children to play with his little children.
Oh, isn't that adorable?
But that don't mean to say that I'm going to think about that. When the bell rang, he will be in trouble.
Yeah, on this film, I'd swear you said I don't like him at all. On that film we did. Was that just, were you joking then or now?
Well, I mean, what are you doing, agitating?
I wouldn't do a thing like
This
that.
has been the history of America. You just love to see two colored folks beat up each other. He had agitating, trying to get us fight. We gonna fight. You don't have to agitate. The rumble is on. We don't get along, so we gonna get it on. And if he thinks he's the best, so he's gonna jump in my chest. So you don't have to try to agitate and push it on no father unless you want us to start now, and you might get hit in the middle.
Are you reading that off something? That was pretty good.
In fact, looking back to the last fight, you think that you still won that fight?
The last fight, look, I don't like to be what they call a sore loser and brag and talk about losing. You know, it's up to the people. I think I won. I think I landed more punches. I think he was in worse physical shape. I got knocked down. Henry Cooper knocked me down. Sonny Banks knocked me down. Doug Jones almost knocked me down. Alan Hustle in the Olympics knocked me down. Joe Lewis got knocked down. Max Mellon, Sugar Ray. That's all right, been knocked down. He's been knocked
What are you
down.
saying that you think he won the fight?
I know. I believe I won the fight. I believe I won the fight.
How many times you look at this fight?
About 5.
You want to look at it Sunday?
We'll see it. We forget the fight, Joe. We're gonna meet again.
You better believe it. We will meet again.
I'm saying he just bought a big old pretty mean coat. It was all in the newspapers. You had a $10,000
I got a backstage. Want to take a look
I
at it?
saw
and
that.
you
You
got
did buy
two
it.
big old diamond rings.
Beautiful.
And I want you to get you a new trade after this game and learn to play because you're gonna need them.
Look at it. What's that?
Wow.
I want you to take that big pretty
What's
Lincoln
that?
Continental and them pretty diamonds and get on out and do a little playing.
Well, I'll
Because
do-
you're gonna
I'll
leave
say-
the ring
I'll say
that
it.
night.
I'll say you something for you.
You started all of it.
Wait.
You started all of it.
Just
Whatever
remember
you
that.
come-
Please remember that I wear
Whenever
glasses.
you come down where I'm at, I'll take care of you. Make sure
No,
that
but
you're
I
happy.
want to give Joe credit. Honest, all
Credit.
surgeon, something I never said. I got to admire this man to be where he is today, to have went as long as he did and as good as he did, plus knocking me down, to get his ranking with no style.
How you like that?
No, I mean,
How
no,
you
I mean,
like
seriously,
no
I'm not
style?
talking about Joe. Has to
No
admit,
style.
even as trainer, I mean, you got the boxing style like Joe Frazier. You'll never see Joe Frazier jabbing and faking and backing up, moving
Oh
aside.
man, you got
He's always
surprise.
coming
You got a
forward.
surprise coming. You got a surprise coming. You wait till the 28th.
How you gonna teach
Yeah.
your
You
old
gonna
dog
see
new
something.
tricks? How you gonna learn some new
You
tricks?
called him
That-
an old
that-
dog. Well, that,
No,
hear
you
that.
are still agitating. I didn't say that.
No, he called you. I
still
heard it. Didn't he
agitating.
say it?
What you mean a dog? You can call me a dog. So you can't teach
He said an
dogs.
old dog, new
No,
tricks. He
not
calls you a
him.
bear
I'm not
half the
talking-
time.
I'm
He
a what
told me at the camp that you sleep with a teddy bear in your bed. Now, I don't make these things up, you know.
That's what he said.
This guy tells me this.
Let's be friends for 1 minute just to get him.
No, come on. What is, no, come on. No. This is my good.
Let's show him.
Oh, what?
Let's show him.
What time is it?
Let me tell you something. Oh no! Let me tell you something.
Wait, can I say something?
Let me tell you something.
I must
I
tell you.
want to tell you one thing. All of the brothers out there watching television,
Yeah.
I don't care how mad y'all at each other, when it's come to one of these fellas trying to divide us, we must unite.
Oh, no. Wait a minute. Wait.
That was not in the
Take
script.
my pulse.
That was unrehearsed. That was my idea.
I saw that up on the screen. It looked like a giant Oreo cookie.
He's talking about Joe on one side, Ali on the other, and Dick Cavett in the middle. One big giant Oreo cookie. Pretty good rap, of course. Anytime Cavett had Ali on, it was special. No doubt about that. He and Ali had this special relationship. Of course, Hulk Cosell had a special relationship with Ali, but Dick Cavett was more outgoing. Cosell would get like monologuing, you know, Muhammad, this is a tough fight. You're fighting Joe Frazier for the second time. And Dick Cavett would make light of everything. So Dick Cavett was fun to be on, of course. Always fun to watch him on TV, no doubt about that. Now, Jared Ennis, is he the best welterweight right now? I don't know. We know he's undefeated. Somebody shot me a text. He's undefeated, and you know he's got a good record. And he looks pretty good in most of his fights. And of course, it looks like the IBF, the International Boxing Federation, decided they were going to take the title away from Terrence Crawford and give it to Mr. Ennis. Of course, because I think that Crawford is going to do a rematch with Earl Spence. And why he would want to do that is because he can make a lot of money beating up a dead man. I mean, how else can you explain Earl Spence's performance? I mean, he didn't perform. He sort of showed up. He stepped between the ropes, and that was it. I mean, there was no more into him. He had nothing left, okay? And of course, getting tossed out of a car like he did at 115 miles an hour, I'll say it time and time again. Had that happened to him in a boxing match, he would have never been allowed to fight again. They wouldn't have even thought about it. I mean, look at those pictures of him laying in a hospital bed, almost dead, okay? There's no way in the world. If they said this is the results of a 15-round beating by the hands of Sugar Ray Leonard, no, he'd never be able to box again. But because it wasn't done by hands, it was done in a car accident. They allowed him to go one more time. Of course, the blood around the right retina. Of course, talking about the blood all around that right part of the eye where that means his brain bled. That's the indication of a concussion, indication of a brain bleed. It's not like he walked away from this unscathed. Everybody thinks, oh man, it wasn't no big thing. He got a couple scrapes, got a couple cups. Listen, the pictures they took of him were a few weeks, if not a month and a half, past the actual incident. Why? Because Jerry Jones was doing his PR down there, the owner of the Dallas Cowboys, and he was sort of protecting their, and there's no doubt about that. I mean, that was a protection job. But you give him props. They put it together. They put him in this multi-million-dollar fight when he had no chance of winning. Slim and Nunn, and Slim had left town a long, long time ago. Okay, so he had no chance of winning. He has no chance of winning the rematch. I mean, I wouldn't want to listen. Have you ever seen somebody run over by a car? I have. I wouldn't want to see it again. I just wouldn't. I mean, I'll tell you what. I was on Alamany Boulevard one time, and me and my mother were in a car, and we were in the cross street, and there was a kid in the crosswalk, and we saw a car come down the street and ran him over. Just ran him. I mean, just ran him over and ran him over. I mean, and kept going. And so this kid's body was laying in the street. I don't need to see that again. Never in my life. I mean, I don't want to. Why would you want to see Earl Spence fight Terrence Crawford again? Why would you want to see Earl Spence fight again? I mean, come on. Who in boxing is exploiting this kid to the point where they're not telling him what reality is about and they're just taking his money? I mean, who are his managers? What team is this that is imploring Earl Spence to step into the ring one more time after he made, and I'll say this, if he made $10 or $15 million, they said he made that or more, somewhere around 20, more power to him. But if you walked away at $4 million, if you can't live for the rest of your life, young man, on $4 million, even buying weed and living in Texas where there's no state tax, you got some problems. You just do. I mean, that's more money than a sucker like you could ever spend. Okay, buy your house, buy yourself a nice on there. You probably already have, so you can put this money away. What I'm trying to tell you is that Earl Spence, you come out one more time, and the eventual results might be so catastrophic that we might be talking about banning boxing. I kid you not, because they're going to say, they allowed him into the ring the first time. I can see the anti-boxing people doing this, getting on their soapboxes, going, with Spence being a dead man or almost a dead man, like that. All right, they'll be saying, well, we tried to prevent this fight. We didn't want it to happen, this and that. You shouldn't have, blah, 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 blah. Doesn't matter. Look at him now. Earl Spence is going to be an accident. He's an accident waiting to happen. As I said, he's been run over by a car once, like Suge Knight. When Suge Knight ran that guy over down there, was in Florida. When he were in Florida, it was California. I think it was Florida. He ran this guy over, and then Suge backed the truck over him. He ran him over the first time. That wasn't enough, Daniel. He backed the car up over the guy to make sure he ran over him another time. Okay, that's basically what's going on here with Earl Spence and Terrence Crawford. So I think they're going to try to do this in December, although they haven't announced an official date yet. I'm hoping they go in different directions. The IBF has stripped Crawford. Crawford, of course, still undefeated, coming to us out Omaha, Nebraska. Give him props. He's undefeated. He's won titles at 135, 140, 147. I mean, he might be the best fighter pound for pound in the world right now. But he's also getting old. In that last fight, especially before the weigh-in, man, the guy looked like he was 95, going on 100 years old. I mean, he looked like Fred G. Sanford without the gray. I kid you not. Or almost a gray. You know Fred G. Sanford, right, my buddy? Red Fox. Red Fox was a good old guy. He was. I mean, one time, a little Red Fox story before we go to the break. I'm at the Tyson Burbick fight. November 1978, we were at the Las Vegas Hilton, right? And we're outside, and I think we're trying to get tickets from scalpers. We're not working out, so we're standing right outside the door to the fight. And Red Fox comes by. I go, hey, Red, take a picture. So he takes a picture. I take the camera, and he takes a picture with Lenny Albert. And there's cocaine coming out of both sides of Red Fox's nose here. I mean, it's as clear as white lines running down his lip. And then he's got it on his sweater, too, on his shirt, too. He's got this silk shirt with cocaine all over it. Okay, so I took the picture. And we never made it public, but we've got it. Lenny sent it to me about 6 or 8 months ago. Lenny Albert, the guy that took the picture. And of course, Mark Risman, my attorney now, and my attorney back then as well, but he was Red Fox's attorney. Of course, he spent the last 2.5 years with Red Fox almost every day. But Mark Risman's got some great Red Fox stories. Red Fox was a character. I'll never forget the night we went to see Red Fox at the Hacienda Hotel. He had Slappy White and he had Aunt Esther. Aunt Esther, they were both stand-up comedians. If you think, listen, Aunt Esther, you don't want her undressing you, believe me. You do not want, she had the most foul mouth I've ever seen in my entire life, but she was funny as hell. Had a great night, of course. Slappy White, Red Fox, those are the old days. When the Hacienda Hotel in Las Vegas was a motel. You got to drive up there in a car. This is Ring Talk, live worldwide.
Hey guys, this is Brian the Wine Punch Valoria. Stay tuned to WBC TV and Viv.
Mucha fuerza al término de cada episodio y en esta evidentemente siendo el hombre de casa.
Well, I'm on Ring Talk, and as you know, this is one of the first shows that got onto the internet. My friend Pedro is a true fighter in his own mind, I should say. But he really is. I seen him exercising the other day, getting ready for somebody. I don't know who it is because everybody is taking shots at him. So I see him getting himself in good condition so that he can fire back. Never been one to say die. Never been one to hide out. He comes on damn near torpedoes, full steam ahead.
Okay, the computer didn't jump in there and give us some music like they were supposed to. So, should I fake the music? Was I supposed to fake the music? I'm looking at Daniel. Daniel's like pounding on the wall, pounding on the button. Where it's going? Anyway, it didn't work. But the bottom line is, of course, the wire-haired wonder Don King. You know, he's always been good to me. I mean, people say to me, you know, you got a negative attitude towards Don King. I really don't. I mean, one point in time, I think in 1995, something like that, I'm doing a TV gig for him in Las Vegas, Nevada, and I'm sitting there at ringside. We had a meeting, a little production meeting for the TV crew, and I had my daughter with me. I think she was like 3.5, 4 years old, something like that. So anyway, Don King says to me, he says, "Hey, Pedro, do you got a nanny for Jackie?" That's what he said. Do you have he knew her name. Do you have a nanny for Jackie for during the fight? And I did already. I had a nanny set up, but that's how concerned he was. So the bottom line is people call him unscrupulous, creepy, and all that kind of good stuff. But the bottom line is Don King does have a heart. Believe me, he does. You are tuned to Ring Talk Live Worldwide. You're inside looking to the world of boxing and MMA. Of course, boxing per se, he who controls the heavyweight champion controls boxing, but there is no real heavyweight champion right now. Of course, the title should be declared vacant after the abysmal effort and performance put forth by Tyson Fury a fortnight ago against Francis Ngannou. Ngannou is the uncrowned champion. They're talking about putting Ngannou in the top 10 of the WBC ratings. After licking the champ, why is he not the number 1 ranked mandatory contender? That's the question I asked of the WBC. Until next time, this has been Ring Talk Live Worldwide, a production of the Sports Byline Broadcast Network. On Saturdays, Daniel Ogden calls the shots here. I thank him so much. Of course, I want to thank the people in Dallas, Texas, the Jackmans, both John Jackman and, of course, Danielle as well. Until next time, this has been another edition of Ring Talk Live Worldwide, Saturdays and Sundays, 11 a.m. Pacific Time, live on the Sports Byline Broadcast Network and every other channel. You're listening to Ring Talk Live Worldwide on now.